Sparta was one of the most powerful and mysterious city-states in the ancient world. Located in the region of Laconia in southern Greece, it developed a culture that stood in complete contrast to its rival cities, especially Athens. While Athens became famous for philosophy, democracy, art, and architecture, Sparta chose a very different path. It built its entire society around discipline, military strength, and absolute obedience to the state. In Sparta, the individual did not exist for personal success. The individual existed only to serve Sparta. Spartan culture was strict, minimal, and highly controlled. Luxury was discouraged, wealth was hidden, and emotional expression was often seen as weakness. Even communication was famously short and direct. This is where the word laconic, meaning brief speech, comes from, named after Laconia, Sparta's region. From the moment a Spartan was born, life was already shaped by the state. One of the most debated and dramatic aspects of Spartan life is the claim that weak or disabled babies were thrown off cliffs. The truth is more complex. According to ancient writers, newborns were examined by elders of the city. If a child was judged physically unfit, they could be abandoned near a mountainous area known as Mount Taygetus. However, modern historians debate how common this actually was. Some believe it was exaggerated by rival states like Athens to make Sparta seem more brutal than it truly was. So, while selective exposure of infants may have existed, the dramatic cliff-throwing image is likely an oversimplified myth. If a child survived this early stage, their real Spartan life began at age 7. Boys were taken from their families and enrolled into a brutal training system called the agoge. From this moment, they were no longer raised as children, but as future soldiers. They lived in barracks, trained daily in combat, endurance, survival skills, and discipline. Food was intentionally limited. Boys were encouraged to steal food to survive, but if they were caught, they were punished harshly, not for stealing itself, but for failing at it. The goal was to develop intelligence, stealth, and toughness. Pain tolerance was also tested regularly. Endurance was valued more than comfort. Spartans believed that suffering built strength, and strength built survival. At age 18, young men entered military training as full warriors, and by 20, they could officially serve in the Spartan army. Spartan women also had a very unique role compared to the rest of ancient Greece. While women in other Greek city-states had limited rights, Spartan women were encouraged to be physically strong, educated, and independent. They could own land, manage property, and were expected to maintain fitness so they could give birth to strong children. The Spartan belief was simple: strong mothers create strong warriors. Sparta also had a rare political system. Instead of one ruler, it had 2 kings who ruled at the same time. This dual monarchy shared military and religious responsibilities and helped prevent absolute power from concentrating in one individual. Supporting the kings were groups of elders and officials who helped govern the strict military society. But behind Sparta's strength was a hidden foundation: the Helots. The Helots were a large population of enslaved people, mostly from conquered regions such as Messenia. They worked the land, produced food, and supported the entire Spartan economy, allowing full Spartan citizens to focus entirely on warfare. This system created constant tension. Because Helots greatly outnumbered Spartans, fear of rebellion was always present. As a result, Sparta maintained strict control and military readiness at all times. Sparta's most famous moment in history came during the Persian invasions. In 480 BCE, during the Battle of Thermopylae, King Leonidas I led a small Greek force, including 300 elite Spartan warriors, against the massive army of Xerxes I. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Spartans held the narrow pass of Thermopylae for several days. Their final stand became one of the most legendary acts of resistance in history. Although they were eventually defeated, their sacrifice slowed the Persian advance and inspired all of Greece to unite. The Spartans became a symbol of courage, discipline, and absolute sacrifice. Later, Sparta also played a major role in the Peloponnesian War against Athens, eventually defeating its rival and briefly becoming the dominant power in Greece. However, even Sparta was not eternal. Over time, its rigid system, dependence on Helots, and population decline weakened its power. Eventually, Sparta lost its dominance and was absorbed into larger empires, including Macedonia and later Rome. Still, Sparta's legacy remains powerful today. It is remembered as a society where discipline replaced luxury, where strength was valued above all else, and where life itself was shaped by war and survival.
Sparta was not just a city-state, it was an idea that tested the limits of human endurance, loyalty, and sacrifice. And even today, thousands of years later, the world still remembers Sparta as the land of warriors.